So guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to walk through my pull day, which I do back, biceps, rear delts, and of course cardio almost every day. Low intensity steady state cardio. And then we'll start with external rotations to warm up the supraspinatus muscle, which is located in the under the deltoideus, deeply above the scapula. And it's involved in stabilizing the shoulder joint. And I think many people should train this muscle because it's neglected from many people. So yeah, I usually do this before my upper body sessions. It takes just 1-2 minutes to warm up and keep it involved as well. And then I do pull downs, 2 warm up sets. I always keep my reps between 8 and 15 reps. And a progressive exercise for pull downs is pull ups, because pull ups is much harder and much more difficult to do properly than pull downs, because you have to lift your body weight, right? So yeah, remember, if you start with the pulling movement this week, you can start with the rowing movement next week. But I have 2 back days in a week, so if I start with pulling this exercise, this day, I do rowing the next day. So it's like equal amount of stimuli for different muscle parts in the back, right? And moving on to the next exercise is bent over barbell rows. Here there's different muscles involved, for example the rhomboideus, and also here you develop more of the thickness of the back, not the wideness, okay? And here you have to keep in mind that you need to keep your torso straight, as straight as possible, not try to move your upper body too much. And here it requires a lot of core stability to keep your upper body straight, because this is really one of the hardest exercises you can do in the gym. And usually if you're not in that good shape, you can just do a seated rowing movement, because you're working still almost the same muscles, and it doesn't require that much of a core stability like in the bent over barbell rows. Moving on to the next exercise, we have pullovers with cable. The difference between a pullover and a rowing or a pulling movement is that on the pulling and the rowing movement, you're bending your elbow, and in that way you're kind of involving the biceps as a secondary muscle. Here, biceps is not secondary muscle, and in that way the back is stimulated more isolated, right? If the back is more isolated, you can do this as a warm-up for the back, or even finishing off with the back exercise with this one. Also, there's a difference between a dumbbell pullover and the cable, because in the dumbbell, on the way down, right, you're making a stretching movement of the chest, so it's slightly involved also, and it doesn't require involvement of the chest in the cable pullover. So here I'm trying to tweak the technique of my client, and I told him to move with the cable in a way that you're getting more of stretch on the back. But if it's his first time, it's slightly hard. That is more complicated stuff. I told him to try to not move the upper body too much, making momentum. And also I told him, as you see, try to move the elbow as far behind as possible, making a better contraction of the back muscles. And also told him to rotate his toes slightly outwards to keep a more stable position. As you can see, he's really progressing with the movement, and he's gonna get it soon, but he really need to practice because it's first time. And I really told him to push the weight down in the beginning to be able to use the lats more, because if he drags it, he really if he drags it straight down to his belly button from the beginning phase, it's almost like a pull down movement if you know the biomechanics. And I told him to kind of bend his elbow. I told him to look at my position, and I was telling him look at my feet, point slightly outwards. I'm moving the weight down and moving it slowly back again. I'm really able to squeeze my lats here, and I prefer this barbell over ropes when I do these pullovers. And since this is a isolation movement, I like to keep the reps slightly higher and the rest between like 1 to 1.5 minutes. To be honest, the rest really doesn't have a really static number. It depends really on you or your shape, etc. But you want to keep your rest as efficient, as long as possible, so you're able to do the next set as efficient as possible. You know, that's the secret here. And yes, so after this exercise I will show you the next one. So moving on to the next exercise. After finishing back, I start with biceps. I'm already slightly warm, so I choose a little bit lighter weight when I start with this exercise. Incline dumbbell curls, okay? And then you do let's say 4 sets between 8 to 12. Sometimes it's 7, sometimes 13, doesn't really matter. On the long run, it doesn't matter. Don't be stuck on numbers, okay? Try to improve and try to train harder than last time. And try to really progressive overload. When I finish the set, I'll always look at the TV screen on the gym, and I try to aim for roughly around 1.5 minute break. And I really like this exercise because it's hard to cheat. If you stand, it's really easy to move your upper body and use momentum, right? Here is really limited. And yeah, I do between 1.5 reps, I do 4 sets. Try not to move the elbow too much, and keep your arms straight like that, so the biceps stretch even more in the bottom face. Moving on to the next exercise is standing cable biceps curls. I like to stand the opposite direction because if you look at the biomechanics in here, the movement pattern, you can see that my biceps is already fully stretched in the beginning phase, and I'm able to target more of the biceps in this way. And if you stand the other way, it's kind of a regressive exercise, meaning a little bit slighter version. Because if you stand the opposite direction, not the way I am standing, but the opposite direction, the other way, it's kind of easier, and you're targeting your shoulder a little bit more. Here, there's almost no shoulders, and really full tension on the biceps even from the beginning. So I recommend almost, if you do this exercise, try to stand like me. You really target the biceps. After finishing biceps, I move on to rear delts. Rear delts pointed right there, located on the back of the shoulder part. And here I do 6 sets between roughly about 10, 12, 15 reps. keep the rest sets between 45 to 60 seconds. And here you need to keep in mind that your chest needs to be always in contact with the seats, like I explained, always in contact, so that you're not able to cheat. And then feet of course pointed slightly outwards, and then you need to start slightly, you need to move your arm slightly out, and then you can start. Because if you start all the way from the beginning, you feel it on the back, because this is one of the rare exercises in the gym that you don't need full range of motion. And then keep in mind that the handle needs to be on the same position like your shoulder, so the biomechanics, if you look at that aspect, your shoulder is targeted even more if you're the same angle. And as you can see, shoulder is deltoideus muscle, as it's called in Latin, is divided into 3 parts: anterior, lateral, and rear. So many people neglect rear delts. Keep in mind that after home office and sitting in front of a computer and stuff, you can really get in bad shape, I mean posture wise, and the rear delt is really important for balancing the posture, right? So I recommend, if you have a stronger anterior part, you need to start with rear delt first. Don't neglect rear delts. So yes guys, this is one of my pull days. I rarely change the routine on this one. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon on next day, push day. Peace out guys, take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.